You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here is a look at some of our news headlines this morning. Outside Lands kicking off in San Francisco today, and Golden Gate Park is ready to welcome the crowds. This is a look at the calm before the storm. These stages are set, and the city is expecting about 225,000 concert goers to attend the 3-day music festival. Some of them gathered outside the park early this morning, hours before the gates even opened.
I honestly thought more people were going to be here, so I kind of wanted to beat the rush. My friends are here for Role Model, and then also tomorrow I'm looking to see Wallows, Gracie, all that.
The first performers hitting the stage at around noon. Doja Cat going to be headlining tonight, and Tyler, the Creator, tomorrow. Hozier is going to be headlining on Sunday. A delegation of Texas Democrats that left their state to block a vote on new congressional maps is being welcomed by leaders here in California. They are meeting with Governor Newsom and Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi in Sacramento County today. The Texas lawmakers have been out of state since Monday. They are trying to prevent the Republican-held chamber from voting on a redistricting plan that could give the GOP 5 more seats in the House. In response, Newsom has proposed redrawing California's congressional districts. California's Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis dropping out of the state governor's race. She announced that she is going to run for state treasurer instead. Her decision to drop out comes just over a week after former Vice President Kamala Harris announced that she will not run for governor. A wildfire in Southern California has forced about 2,500 people to evacuate. The Canyon Fire broke out at around 2 yesterday afternoon, just north of Los Angeles. It's already reached homes in one area near the Santa Clarita Valley. That fire has grown to nearly 5,000 acres or 7.5 square miles. And that Gifford fire we've been following on the Central Coast has now burned about 100,000 acres. That is more than 150 square miles, nearly the size of San Jose. That fire broke out in the Los Padres National Forest in Santa Barbara County a week ago. Evacuation orders have been expanded. Firefighters facing extreme heat and low humidity, making their jobs tougher. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast. As our temperatures are climbing yet again today, here's meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
Happy Friday! We have made it through a really gorgeous week all across the Bay Area, and this afternoon is going to be the peak of the heat, the more summer-like temperatures that have returned. Inland areas, upper 90s, right on the cusp of those triple-digit high temperatures, and the more widespread 90s are in place from our North Bay communities all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley as well. So hey, these kind of temperatures we haven't felt in quite a while, so enjoy the more summer-like heat while you can, and practice heat safety, or head on over to the coast where those temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. A lot more comfortable for this time of year compared to the chilly, cloudier, gloomier weather that we have been dealing with. But the fog from this morning will continue to peel back and allow us to likely see another 70-degree day today, because we have actually only seen 2 70-degree days from June 1st to July 31st. We've seen 2 70-degree days as well for the first full week of August. So that pattern change has arrived for the first full week of the month. That puts us at 4 70-degree days, the least number of 70-degree days in the summertime since 1967. Today, likely, though, going to make it 5 70-degree days. And we might see another one of those 70s tomorrow as well, as these above average temperatures are going to stick around today, about 5 to 10 degrees above average, and likely again going to stay that way into the later parts of this upcoming weekend. It's going to be cooling down, though, by next week. So moral of the story is, if you enjoy the 90s, especially if you've been missing the more summer-like temperatures, enjoy the sunshine today and get ready for a cool down into next week, where those temperatures will be returning back to below average, back to the low 80s for our inland communities, back to the low 70s for areas by the bay, to even upper 60s, more cloud coverage arriving. Again, enjoy the sunshine while you can.
Well, a lot of people are going to be enjoying that sunshine in Golden Gate Park. Some of the biggest names in music will be performing in San Francisco over the next 3 days as Outside Lands takes over. Crews spent the last few days putting together 7 stages, including the Soma stage, which got a makeover this year. The 3-day event also features wine, nearly 100 local restaurants. Organizers say it is much more than just a music festival.
The idea that you can explore different parts of the music festival. You have 3 days to look around, or you could just get married.
I did
You know,
see
we
that,
have
yes.
City Hall, and that's a legitimate, place. You want to test wines that you've never had.
The city is expecting about 225,000 people to attend. Getting to Golden Gate Park over the next 3 days is going to be tricky with that large of a crowd. So if you were heading over there, here's Gianna Franco with a look at some of the traffic.
It's going to be a busy weekend here in the Bay Area when it comes to traffic outside lands in San Francisco, plus that closure along 680. So if you do plan on taking 680 this weekend, northbound will be completely shut down for 55 hours straight, starting at 10 o'clock on Friday night until 5 a.m. on Monday. This is at the Mission San Jose overpass, right at the junction between 680 and Highway 238. There are detours that will be in place. Crews will be working on the bridge deck and replacing joints and repaving the roadway. Outside lands happening at Golden Gate Park. Parking will be limited. They do have shuttle services in place. Use public transportation. That is your best bet to get over towards Golden Gate Park. It's happening Friday through Sunday, and they're expecting some big crowds.
We are counting down as well to the 49ers preseason. Kicks off tomorrow when the Niners host the Denver Broncos at Levi Stadium. You can watch that game on KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Kickoff at 5:30 p.m. And the faithful got a chance to be up close and personal with the 49ers yesterday as they held their final open practice before the preseason. And they are hoping it's going to end with an appearance in the Super Bowl, which would be amazing because the Super Bowl is going to be in Santa Clara at the end of the season. As Glenn Ramirez reports, fans are feeling pretty optimistic about their chances this year.
It's been 3 decades since the 49ers brought the Lombardi Trophy back to the Bay. In the stands at the 49ers practice field, the spirit of that victory is alive, even if for many the memories are not. Do you remember the last time they won a Super Bowl?
No, nope, I do not. Nope.
Because
I wasn't born. Yeah.
there is something of a generation gap among 49ers fans, those with memories of an unforgettable Super Bowl win and those who've only seen it on the highlight reels. And for old school fans like Felicia, the wait for another one is getting harder.
30 years ago, yes, I was 28 and living in Bayview, Hunters Point. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember the food that we pulled out.
What did you pull out?
We had New Orleans. We had crawfish and crab and gumbo and etouffee. We pulled out a whole New Orleans style meal.
It was January 29th, 1995, when the Niners crushed the then San Diego Chargers 49-26. Felicia celebrated with the team at the parade on the streets of San Francisco.
We've been faithful, but we were the diehard.
But for fans like Nicholas, that moment shaped a different kind of legacy. How old were you?
10, going on 10, I think.
He grew up to become an artist and created a 49ers logo made of tiny handwritten names of every player who's ever won a Super Bowl with the team.
Number 21, Deion Sanders.
He spent weeks researching every name and says some from that 1995 roster stood out, but it's been far too long.
We got robbed the last couple times, so yeah, we got to pull it off this year for sure.
Back on the field, Felicia says the team owes the next generation a memory of their own.
We are definitely overdue so that this young generation can taste that Super Bowl. They're already hungry. We didn't have 2 heartbreaking losses, so they need to be able to eat a Super Bowl.
Every season begins with optimism that this could be the year that breaks that 3-decade drought.
Well, we also got our first look at the team's new scoreboards. This is a look from our chopper. They are just one of the ways Levi's is upgrading the facility ahead of Super Bowl 60. We caught up with one Niners fan who's been waiting all year for this. She turned her love for the team into a fan-based business. Daniela Hakimi was born into a Niners family. Growing up, her Sundays were all about watching the Niners. Daniela sells Niners-inspired pins and gang-branded T-shirts. She told us she has a feeling this year could be special.
I've been going to training camps this season, and the energy surrounding the team has just been like so different. And I just feel like everybody's so hyped up and like ready for the season to start. And like having Robert Saleh back on defense, like I truly think that it's just going to be a super like intense season, and I'm super excited for it.
Daniela says everything is lining up for the Niners. She's hoping to see the home team in the Super Bowl, as we all are, at Levi Stadium. Don't forget, you can catch that 49ers' first preseason game against the Denver Broncos tomorrow on KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Our live coverage starts at 5 o'clock. We also have a WNBA doubleheader over on our sister station, Pix Plus, tomorrow. That all starts at 5 o'clock when the Valkyries take on the Los Angeles Sparks. Then it's the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. You can see it all on Channel 44, Cable 12. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. Oakland celebrating a steep drop in crime. But community leaders say there is more work to be done, what they credit for the decline and how they're hoping to build on that momentum. Plus, as kids head back to school around the Bay Area, we are going to introduce you to a father in the East Bay who's leading the charge to make the streets safer for students.
If they're blowing the stop sign at 30 miles an hour, are they looking for the kid and the ball? Do they even care?
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Today is the peak of the heat, so any outdoor plans inland, make sure you practice heat safety. Upper 90s, one of the warmest days that we have felt so far this summer. It will be gradually cooling down into this upcoming weekend, but it's still likely going to stay above average all the way through Sunday before below average temperatures. More cloud coverage heads our way into early next week and then back to below average with a lot more fog and the onshore wind returning. Tuesday looks like the cool down, so moral of the story is enjoy the warmer and sunnier weather this weekend.
Now to a promising trend in Oakland. The city says crime is dropping. Police data throughout the first half of the year shows violent crime fell by 29% compared to the first 6 months of 2024. This continues a shift that started last year. Yesterday, city leaders came together to celebrate the progress, but one activist told our Lauren Toms Oakland cannot afford to let up.
Every week, Joe Griffin waits for a fresh set of numbers. They're not just statistics to him. They're a pulse check on the city of Oakland. And the numbers he's holding now tell a story of progress, as overall crime has dropped 28% in the first half of the year compared to the same time in 2024.
So when I look at this, it just, to me, it tells a story of we need to invest in finding out what is actually working.
City leaders say what's working is a united effort, an approach that includes grassroots crime prevention groups like Youth Alive, where Joe has worked for 16 years, and a more visible police presence. He's seen Oakland's crime patterns rise and fall. In 2023, overall crime spiked 17%. This year, he says the numbers show a momentum that the city can't afford to lose.
I think it's the start of something, and I think that for folks who live in Oakland, for folks who want to change the narrative around how we think of Oakland, it shows that not only do we want public safety, but we're working towards it.
City leaders say there's still more work to be done, but they're celebrating data that shows overall violent crime fell by 29% in the first 6 months of this year compared to last year. That includes a 21% drop in homicides, an 18% drop in aggravated assault, a 24% drop in rape, and 41% drop in robbery. Property crime is also dropping. Burglaries are down 19%, motor vehicle thefts down 45%, and larceny down 17%. Arson was the only category showing an increase by 9%.
We have to talk about more about what we're doing because crime is going down, so we have to address the perception and the feeling of crime right now.
Oakland's 911 response times are improving too. Now, 73% of emergency calls are answered within the first 15 seconds. It's still shy of the 90% statewide goal, but Mayor Barbara Lee says it's the progress the city has been craving.
These results show that we're on the right track, but our work is far from done. We're going to keep building on this progress with the same comprehensive approach that got us here.
That comprehensive approach hasn't come easy. The city had to close a more than $200 million budget deficit, forcing deep cuts to community resources. Youth Alive lost part of its city grant and $2 million in federal funding. Even so, Joe says these numbers show their work is having an impact.
I think the key is that there isn't one thing. is that this really is an all hands on deck moment. What we're doing right now is saving lives. We have time to evaluate. We have time to figure out why it's happening, but we know that what's happening is good. So let's stick with it.
Last year, violent crime dropped 19% in Oakland compared to 2023. The city credits the revival of its ceasefire program, which focuses on the most violent gangs and groups with preventative measures. Oakland's numbers also mirror a wider trend. New data from the state attorney general and the FBI shows that overall violent crime was down across California and across the country. A 16-year-old girl from Fremont who was missing for nearly 2 weeks has been found safe. Katie Hong disappeared on July 25th from her home on Queens Park Court. Police said she left a note expressing her intention to run away and possibly meet up with strangers that she met online. Police considered her at risk and put out pleas to the public to help find her. Investigators have not said how or where she was found, but we're glad to hear it. Israel's security cabinet has approved a plan to take control of Gaza City, threatening to deepen the humanitarian crisis there. That plan would see an expansion of military operations in Gaza, despite growing criticism at home and abroad. That decision stopped short of seizing control of all of Gaza, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing for. Families of Israeli hostages still held by Hamas protested outside of Netanyahu's office in chains. They say Israel's expanding military offensive puts their loved ones in even more danger. The United Nations is also pushing back. Meantime, foreign nations continued dropping aid in Gaza today, but the UN and aid groups say they are delivering far less aid than trucks would. They also say they're dangerous because they could lead to crowding and stampedes. Governor Newsom touting a new partnership with several tech giants to keep California students up with advancements in artificial intelligence. Google, Adobe, IBM, and Microsoft are going to offer tools, training, and literacy. The goal is to enable students in 9th grade and above to gain skills in generative AI and be better prepared to enter the workforce.
Over the course of the last few decades, we've seen this evolution, and now we're seeing this rapid acceleration. And so we're here in that spirit of acceleration, of evolution, of innovation, the entrepreneurial spirit that defines the best of the San Francisco Bay Area.
The governor says the agreements were reached at no cost to the state. School already in session for some students in Walnut Creek, and now there is a petition to make the streets in the area safer for students, from extra pedestrian crossings to barriers and speed signs. The father who was leading the charge tells our Suji Nam his mission could help save lives.
I notice maybe 20% of cars roll or blow the stop sign.
Zach Smith moved to Walnut Creek a year ago in hopes of raising his family in a safe neighborhood. But he says intersections like these near his home have been a concern.
If they're blowing the stop sign at 30 miles an hour, are they looking for the kid and the ball? Do they even care?
And that is what sparked Smith to start a petition, urging the city to provide more traffic safety measures.
Stop signs, speed bumps, speed humps, those signboards that show you how fast you're going with the blinking lights.
He adds it will help slow drivers down when they're turning onto quieter streets from major roads.
I notice the cars just fly by. We've got a church, we've got a school.
According to the city of Walnut Creek, from 2015 to 2021, there were more than 1,300 car injury collisions, of which 165 involved pedestrians. Of those cases, 20 people were killed or severely injured.
School is starting up now, so we are going to be doing a lot of extra enforcement.
Walnut Creek Mayor Cindy Darling says she hears the residents' concerns, and they're working towards the goal of Vision Zero traffic-related deaths. She adds that more driver educational outreach, along with their recent hiring of 5 more police officers for traffic enforcement, will make an impact.
We also have some high visibility traffic enforcement coming up, and we do that in conjunction with our adjacent cities. And we look at the hot spots and see if we can help educate people on the importance of following those speed limits.
Meanwhile, Smith says putting in more yard signs like these, especially near schools, will make a difference.
Here comes a car coming down the street. My internal speedometer says that's probably 35 miles an hour, maybe 40 miles an hour.
He plans to bring his petition to City Council soon.
The more I exemplify safe driving, the more I can talk to neighbors about, I walk the talk with me, let's do this, and we'll get some change.
And Smith hopes to walk together with city leaders to create safer streets.
Meantime, Walnut Creek's police chief announced that he is retiring at the end of the year. Jamie Knox has led the department for the past 4 years. His 3 decades in law enforcement started in his native Roseville. He also spent time in Rockland, Nevada, and more recently in San Leandro. City leaders say they will start the process of finding the next chief in the coming months. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a local county trying to soften the blow from cuts by the Trump administration. But would voters pay higher taxes to keep critical safety net programs up and running?
Many people said, why don't we just cut the fat? We already cut the fat. We're literally cutting on the meat right now and cutting into the bone. And if we don't find other stopgap measures, we are going to be losing limbs.
Everybody feeling the warmth today. By tomorrow, you'll notice that warmth kind of pushing back into the Central Valley of California. It's still going to be really hot across our inland East Bay communities, but temperatures are going to be cooling down a degree or 2 into tomorrow, and then they're going to continue to cool down into early next week when we're all going to be seeing the return to below average temperatures. So enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the beautiful weather that's out there. Not just this morning, because I have to say our sunrise has been absolutely gorgeous. This is our view from on top of Sutro Tower. Its head has been above the clouds all morning long, and the cloud coverage is not going to last much longer than the morning. There's only been 2 70-degree days, though, from June 1st to July 31st. But over the past week, there's also been 2 70-degree days. So it just shows you that that pattern change, it has arrived. Still the least number of 70-degree days since 1967, but likely going to be seeing another 70-degree day this afternoon, making it 5 so far this summer. Inland areas likely going to be near the triple-digit mark today, still staying above average this weekend before gradually cooling down, and they get ready for below average, cooler, and cloudier conditions to arrive by next week.
Voters in Santa Clara County are going to get to decide whether to raise taxes to keep the county's health care system going. The Board of Supervisors unanimously voted yesterday to add a sales tax measure to the November ballot. They say it's needed to make up for the $1 billion in public health funding cuts by President Trump's spending bill.
It's really a self-inflicted cruelty and chaos that we're dealing with. It's literally punching a huge hole in our safety net. It's harming everyone in our county.
Devin Feely talked with people in Santa Clara County who rely on the healthcare system, as well as groups opposed to a new tax.
My son does get seizures. They are somewhat controlled right now.
Faviola's son Alexander was born 3 months premature, and even now at age 15 suffers from seizures that, if left untreated, could be life-threatening. She depends on the county's network of public hospitals for his care.
That kid's my life. I got 2 kids, but this one takes a big toll on me because he was the one who saved me when I thought he was going to pass away. And he didn't. He fought. So that's why I'm fighting for him.
County leaders say the sales tax measure they're putting on the November ballot will help keep that public health system afloat, helping people like Faviola and countless others.
Unfortunately, the federal government has now come and pulled the rug out from under us.
The county's chief executive, James Williams, estimates the 5/8 sales tax will generate roughly $330 million in revenue each year. It will not close the anticipated $1 billion shortfall, he says, but is a critical lifeline.
If the measure doesn't pass, it's pretty straightforward, really. It's another $330 million in cuts that we will have to make to critical services.
But not everyone is on board with the idea.
It seems to me the Board of Supervisors needs to learn the definition of budget.
Mark Hinkle is the president of the Silicon Valley Taxpayers Association. He doesn't want to hand the county a blank check, doesn't trust them to be good stewards of the tax dollars entrusted to them.
They have no incentive to keep the cost down because they can always dip into the taxpayer's pocketbook.
For Faviola, however, the debate is measured not in dollars and cents, but an access to care without which she fears her son might not make it.
It saves lives, to be honest with you. Because if you're going to come to a hospital or to a clinic and they tell you to turn you away because you cannot pay a $25 copayment, it's sad.
Well, the county had already scheduled a special election to pick a new tax assessor for November 4th. The sales tax question would be added to that ballot and would need a simple majority to pass. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, Levi Stadium getting ready to shine in the spotlight. We're going to have a look at the stadium's $200 million renovations.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here is another look at some of our news headlines. Outside Lands kicking off in San Francisco today. Golden Gate Park is ready to welcome the crowds. The city is expecting about 225,000 concert goers to attend the three-day festival. The first performers hitting the stage at around noon, Doja Cat is going to be headlining tonight, and Tyler, the Creator, tomorrow. Hosier is going to be headlining on Sunday. A delegation of Texas Democrats that left their state to block a vote on new congressional maps is being welcomed by leaders in California. They're meeting with Governor Newsom and Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi in Sacramento County today. The Texas lawmakers have been out of their state since Monday, trying to prevent the Republican-held chamber from voting on a redistricting plan that could give the GOP 5 more seats in the House. In response, Newsom has proposed redrawing California's congressional districts. Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis dropping out of the California governor's race. She announced that she is going to run for state treasurer instead. Her decision to drop out comes just over a week after former Vice President Kamala Harris announced that she would not run for governor. All right, the weekend is upon us. Let's get another check on our first alert forecast now with meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
Happy Friday! We have made it through a really gorgeous week all across the Bay Area, and this afternoon is going to be the peak of the heat. The more summer-like temperatures that have returned, inland areas, upper 90s, right on the cusp of those triple-digit high temperatures, and the more widespread 90s are in place from our North Bay communities all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley as well. So hey, these kind of temperatures we haven't felt in quite a while, so enjoy the more summer-like heat while you can, and practice heat safety, or head on over to the coast where those temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. A lot more comfortable for this time of year compared to the chilly, cloudier, gloomier weather that we have been dealing with. But the fog from this morning will continue to peel back and allow us to likely see another 70-degree day today, because we have actually only seen 2 70-degree days from June 1st to July 31st. We've seen 2 70-degree days as well for the first full week of August. So that pattern change has arrived for the first full week of the month. That puts us at 4 70-degree days, the least number of 70-degree days in the summertime since 1967. Today, likely, though, going to make it 5 70-degree days. And we might see another one of those 70s tomorrow as well, as these above average temperatures are going to stick around today, about 5 to 10 degrees above average, and likely again going to stay that way into the later parts of this upcoming weekend. It's going to be cooling down, though, by next week. So moral of the story is, if you enjoy the 90s, especially if you've been missing the more summer-like temperatures, enjoy the sunshine today and get ready for a cool down into next week, where those temperatures will be returning back to below average, back to the low 80s for our inland communities, back to the low 70s for areas by the bay, to even upper 60s, more cloud coverage arriving. Again, enjoy the sunshine while you can.
Federal funding cuts impacting critical Bay Area programs that keep families housed. The city of Napa says dozens of families are at risk of losing their homes. Kenny Choi shows us how the city is stepping in to help fill the gap for its most vulnerable residents.
Esmeralda Gill and her team at Puertas Abiertas, a long-standing nonprofit serving the Latino community in Napa Valley, see the daily need of low-income residents looking for help.
If they don't have housing, they don't have a lot of food security, they don't have health security, so there is a lot of need for there to be assistance, especially for our agricultural workers.
She says federal, county, and city grants can often be the difference in a family staying housed or ending up on the streets. It's a critical time for many who work in agriculture and impact Napa's economy.
Harvest is coming up, and if they don't feel safe, they don't feel secure, then there's a lot of different effects that it can have on our community.
Molly Radigan is Deputy City Manager of Napa, who oversees its housing division. In response to recent federal cuts to emergency housing vouchers, the City Council and Housing Authority approved a new rental assistance program using up to $250,000 a year from local housing dollars to help up to 15 households.
What we're trying to do is create a stopgap while we look for longer-term solutions and maintain households in their existing housing.
She says the city has implemented programs using federal dollars and has seen its homeless rate in the last 2 years drop by almost 36%.
Some federal programs are coming to an end and some federal regulations are changing, and those regulations and those changes put these households at risk.
The city says 49 Napa households rely on the emergency vouchers that are ending, and that 18 additional families depend on other programs at risk. Housing advocates like Gil are deeply concerned.
If there's more cuts, then more families are going to be without housing, and it's just going to cause a lot more issues on them, a lot more strain on their emotional, mental well-being, and if they have kids, it causes another level of concern too.
The new program will help families already receiving aid, but not new applicants.
Well, a big win for environmental groups after the California Supreme Court ruled in their favor on a case involving rooftop solar payments. Justices reversed an appeals court ruling yesterday that upheld reduced payments for solar panel owners who sold excess power back to utility companies. Back in 2022, state regulators reduced payments by about 75%, arguing that would make bills more affordable to everyone, including non-solar customers. But environmental groups sued, saying the drop in payments have halted the solar industry in the state and have led to huge layoffs. Justices did not rule whether the changes to the program were legal. They're sending the case back to a lower court to make that decision. Well, the 49ers chasing after another Lombardi trophy, and it is almost time to see them back in action. The Niners and the Denver Broncos held a joint practice session yesterday at Levi Stadium. Tomorrow afternoon, they are facing off in the first preseason game of the season. And as Vern Glenn shows us, some familiar faces are back in Santa Clara.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers and Broncos opened the preseason on Saturday at Levi Stadium. But Thursday, the teams got an early look at each other in Santa Clara. San Francisco and Denver held a joint practice where the Niners got to see former teammates Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and Mike McGlinchey. And after 2 weeks of practicing against each other, the 49ers were happy to face someone new.
Felt great. Yeah, it's always great to see where you're at in camp, and it's about that time. We're tired of going against each other, so it's always good to see some fresh faces out there.
I think the guys are getting a little bored trying to get better every day versus themselves, so I think they were more excited to go against someone else today, but there's nothing that I really make up like, hey, today we're going against someone else, so we have to do A, B, and C. And it's the exact same meeting in the morning that I've had all the other 12 days. It's a different jersey out there.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
Well, the home of the Niners has gone through some major changes since last season. Crews have performed $200 million worth of renovations at Levi Stadium. Our Kevin Coe gives us a look.
Football is almost back, but it wasn't exactly an off-season for workers here at Levi Stadium. That's because the home of the 49ers is also home to next year's Super Bowl and next year's FIFA World Cup. That's part of the reason why there's $200 million of renovations right behind me. So Levi's, it's ready for the big screen, with some help from a massive screen of its own.
No touchdowns yet, but these fireworks before Saturday's preseason opener at Levi Stadium are ushering in a new era. Season ticket holders like Steve were invited to the show.
Here we are at the stadium. I've been here since it started. I'm a Niner fan since the catch.
Back in 1982, the technology unveiled today just didn't exist. The 49ers spending hundreds of millions of dollars over the past few months, updating every single camera and screen to shoot and display video in 4K. The 49ers now officially have the largest outdoor 4K display in the NFL, a proud achievement for Team Brass.
Put over $300 million into this building over the last decade.
Just this summer, over 200. I just want to light that scoreboard up with points, and it's going to be a fun year.
The new and improved Levi Stadium also includes a remodeled team store. Mike and Shelley had a chance to check it out.
He's got it, yeah.
Got Kittle, and she's just kind of the plane.
I'm still looking.
The Niners also have a new game day presentation control room where all stadium video is controlled from. All those instant replays will be cut even quicker with the renovation, while allowing directors to control even more around the stadium, including a new third row of LED panels.
We never get to go to something like this.
John El Chico is a lifelong 49ers fan who represents how most fans feel at this moment. Yes, they love the renovations, but after a tough season, they can't wait to see their Niners in action.
With everything I said, we're gonna win this year. It's just the way I have to think.
Well, this is the year. We say this every year, but this is why we're the faithful. This is why we're here today.
Again, you can catch the 49ers' first preseason game against the Broncos tomorrow on KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Coverage starts at 5. And if you're more of a b-ball fan, we've got a WNBA doubleheader over on our sister station, Pix Plus, tomorrow. That all starts at 5 o'clock when the Valkyries take on the Los Angeles Sparks. Then it is the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. You can see it all on Cable 12, Channel 44. Coming up next, an unlikely symbol of hope to breathe life into San Francisco. Now, the city is hoping to attract visitors with a new Taco Bell.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Today is the peak of the heat, so any outdoor plans inland, make sure you practice heat safety. Upper 90s, one of the warmest days that we have felt so far this summer. It will be gradually cooling down into this upcoming weekend, but it's still likely going to stay above average all the way through Sunday before below average temperatures. More cloud coverage heads our way into early next week and then back to below average with a lot more fog and the onshore wind returning. Tuesday looks like the cool down, so moral of the story is enjoy the warmer and sunnier weather this weekend.
Well, the city of San Francisco has a reputation for rejecting chain stores and restaurants, but there is one that some say could bring new life to Fisherman's Wharf, Taco Bell. Set to open one of its cantinas there. You might be familiar with the concept thanks to the popular Taco Bell cantina in Pacifica. They serve booze. That's the big difference. This new location is now a bit of a symbol of hope as Fisherman's Wharf is in its beginning stages of a campaign to reinvigorate the area and attract new visitors. Our Suji Nam reports.
When you take a stroll down Fisherman's Wharf, it's hard to miss. Many businesses closed, for lease signs on the windows, nothing but memories left.
Not as bad as it was during the pandemic, but it's weird.
Eli Fowler is the manager at Capuro's restaurant at the Wharf. He says they're the last family-owned business in the area.
Great, we need what we can get. Like I see they're doing the same thing with Union Square. They opened the Nintendo store and they're opening that Pop Mart coming up pretty soon. So I think it's definitely a positive for the city. Anything moving in versus these abandoned businesses.
He's optimistic to hear that a Taco Bell cantina will be opening its doors along the 300 block of Jefferson Street. A more upscale version of the chain restaurant, serving alcohol and generally open until 3 in the morning. Namuga Nakayeza from Oakland, however, has mixed feelings.
Honestly, I wish they'd give more money to local businesses so that local, feeling could remain, because I'm not seeing familiarity anymore. I used to see street dancers be able to stay stay in specific spots and perform, and I'd be able to revisit them all the time.
The Fisherman's Wharf Community Benefit District currently has more than 40 retail spaces for lease on their website. But officials say they're optimistic, as they reported a 17% increase of visitors this January compared to last year, the strongest start to the year since the pandemic.
But it is a little dead, so I think we're going to talk about Cantina will relive it, just like the Pacifica has its own Taco Bell and it's known for that.
Jeremiah Paul and his friends are avid Taco Bell fans. Thursday, they were grabbing dinner at the Cantina in Mission Bay.
TikTok username is I love nacho fries. As a fellow vegetarian, oh my gosh, I love Taco Bell.
They are excited to hear that another cantina will be opening nearby.
Listen, I love a little tequila and I love a Baja Blast, and to have them together, I'm a fan. I love it.
The group hopes that bringing a cantina to the Wharf will help revive the popular tourist destination from what it once was. Not to mention, it's only a couple of feet away from the bustling in and out along Jefferson Street, so there may be some healthy competition.
Well, we reached out to the mayor's office, Taco Bell, and the supervisor there, Danny Souther, for comment, and have not heard back about a possible opening date. Stay tuned. Coming up, billions of starfish dying off the Pacific coast. The cause has been a mystery until now.
Finally figured out at least the cause. Now it's hopefully figuring out how we can get them repopulated.
On today's Project Earth, for more than a decade, a puzzling disease has been killing billions of starfish from Alaska down to Baja California, and that includes the sunflower sea stars. But now the mystery of what's been causing these deaths has been solved, and some Bay Area scientists are already working on new ways to protect them. At the California Academy of Sciences inside the Steinhardt Aquarium, 7-year-old Dylan is mesmerized.
I really like it.
Especially this, the sunflower sea star. It can grow up to 24 arms, which explains the name.
Because they're all going at different directions, kind of like a sunflower. Petals. And is big, like a sunflower.
Dr. Rebecca Johnson is a scientist at the Academy. She used to see lots of sunflower starfish off the California coast, but not anymore.
So it went from a place that you'd see hundreds of starfish in a day, and they were just completely gone.
Since 2013, a mysterious epidemic, a wasting disease, has killed billions of sea stars, representing 26 species.
And no one knew at that time what was causing it, if they would ever recover. Like, we didn't know anything. It was just shocking.
The illness turns them to goo. More than 90% of sunflower starfish wiped out. Now, a team of international scientists has solved the mystery.
The culprit is a bacteria. It's a species of Vibrio.
Melanie Prentice is a research scientist with the Haka Institute in British Columbia and co-author of the new report. She says our warming oceans might play a role.
We definitely have evidence that there is a link between increasing ocean temperatures and this sea star wasting disease epidemic.
The sunflowers are voracious predators that feast on sea urchins. Without the starfish, sea urchins are then free to feast off of kelp forests.
They grazed or mowed down entire kelp forests. So now places like Northern California have lost more than 95% of their kelp forest canopy. Kelp, forms the basis of this ecosystem, providing food and habitat to numerous marine species, but also to humans because kelp absorbs carbon dioxide, mitigating the climate crisis. It protects coastlines from erosion and storms.
The hope is to save the species from extinction by first learning how to raise them in a lab. The goal is to hopefully one day reintroduce them into the wild. Academy scientists are at the forefront of the effort.
So if you look really closely, you can see, like in here.
Aquarium curator Kylie Lev. Here, scientists are cultivating sunflowers as well as sea urchins to feed them.
We cultured several hundred sunflower stars last year.
As for Dylan and his family, they got to see some of the youngest now on display.
Great that they've finally figured out at least the cause. Now it's hopefully figuring out how we can get them repopulated.
Making the scientists the real stars of the story. For more Project Earth stories like this one, head to our website, kpix.com. Now to a competition in the North Bay that celebrates dogs no matter how they look. But the uglier the better. It's the world's ugliest dog contest. It's an annual event showcasing dogs with unforgettable faces, if you will, for all competing for the grand title. Organizers say the contest brings attention to adoption. Many of the competing dogs have been rescued from shelters or puppy mills. The contest takes place this evening at its new home at the Sonoma County Fair in Santa Rosa. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your First Alert forecast and another look at your top stories.